Welcome all viewers to India versus Pakistan LiChess team battle. The battle is going to start in just 4 minutes and it's going to be an interesting games as the young talents from both these countries are going to meet for the first time. So just take a look at the team's lineup. We have a Pakistani team that is the chess talent in Pakistan. All the players from Pakistan have been added to this single team, and we have Mir Sultan Chess Academy as well. And the rest teams are from India, but on the
Welcome
live
all
coverage,
viewers to
we are
India
going to
versus
cover only
Pakistan
those
LiChess
games
team
between India
battle.
and Pakistan where the Indian and Pakistan players will be playing. So welcome all to this live broadcast. There was some noise in the background. Please ignore that noise. It's of my own recording. So tournament is starting in just 3 minutes and 20 seconds now. So let's just check who all are there in the chess talent in Pakistan. I'm just trying to click and there are around 12 players, and just to make sure guys that the battle is of 10 teams and 10 leaders. It means that top 10 players from each team, their scores will be counted to decide who is the winner of this tournament. So from Pakistan, we have around 12 players in the chess talent in Pakistan team, and there is Mir Sultan Chess Academy. Just let me check this. So we have 4 players. More players will be joining in. My team, Khelo Chess India, we have around 8 players playing from my team. I won't be playing. I will be trying to comment it as much as possible. I'll try to play a game or two if possible. But we have Indian Warriors who have around 13 players. We have Past Pawn who have around 18 players. Then we have Gujarat Lions. This is having 41 players. A best lineup, one of the best lineups you can see, the 2300, 2200. So these games are going to be the top games in this tournament. So stay tuned, guys. We will be covering all the openings and all the tactics that are happening in this tournament. So let's wait until the tournament begins in last 2 minutes. So last 1 minute and 20 seconds to start the tournament. So all those viewers who are watching this channel for the first time, just to give you information, this channel Khelo Chess India, we bring to you the best in chess. We try to do the live streaming. We create a lot of videos which are of a great help to all the beginners, all the intermediate players. We have done a lot of videos on our technical chess tools as well that you can use, different apps that you can use to practice, that different apps that you can use to study your chess, a lot of things that you can use in chess, but you are still not aware of that. So just check our channel. You will be amazed to check all the videos and the technologies that you can use to improve your chess. So let's wait for last 40 seconds and the games would begin soon after. And the tournament has started. We expect the pairing to be displayed soon. Let us just check the first game here. This game is between Asif Abbasi, he is from the chess talent in Pakistan, versus Aditya Deshmukh from the Paspon teams. So e4, c5 is the Sicilian defense, knight f3, knight c6 is called as the classical defense. Exchange has been done, so there is no chances of a closed game right now. This is an open Sicilian. So Aditya Deshmukh is playing from the Indian team of past pawns from black side, while the Asif Abbasi is playing from the chess talent in Pakistan from white side. Is that a blunder from this knight c5 was capturable, right? Knight c5 and knight takes c5 is still possible. Actually, this bishop was hanging. So that's a miss from white side. This bishop was hanging here. It could have been captured straight away. So that's a big miss. d6. Now this d6 is going to be a long-term weakness because now bishop g5 and queen d2, rook d1 are going to be putting much pressure on this weakened d6 pawn. So that's a good plan from white side. From black side, we have to make sure that the d6 pawn is supported by either of the rooks. And for that, queen has to move very quickly now. Probably knight d4 can be played. Knight d4, knight takes d4, knight d4, knight takes d4, and bishop can come to d4 then to block this file. So a difficult situation for black, I think, so that because of this weakened, this is called as a backward pawn, and if you don't have your bishop on e7 in this scenario or in this case, then it's difficult to defend that d6 pawn. H6, I think, was not necessary as of now because it will give some targets for this bishop, and this rook is already lined up in the f file. White also has the plan of a4 and a5 here. If he wants to play something on the queen side, then probably exchange and then play 4 a5. That is another plan that white has. So h6 is still it's a doubtful move actually. How it will help? Bishop g5 is stopped. I know that, but this d6 is going to be a long-term weakness now. How where will this bishop go now? Bishop d7 is the only move, but then the d6 is hanging. So this is a difficult situation for black. Black is now trying to get some space on the queen side by playing a5. Probably then bishop can go back, or e4, even a4 can be played. Yeah, a4, knight d2 and knight c4 can be played now to put pressure on the bishop as well as the pawn on d6. So knight d4, a good place for this knight, attacking f3 and c2 at the same time. So yeah, knight c4 is now in place just to attack this bishop and this pawn. There is a bad, actually there is not bad, but a difficult plan of putting the bishop on a5, trying to create a double pawn here, and if knight captures, then we can capture back with the rook and try to play d5 with the support of knight as well as this rook. So it could be something that black can work upon. It will also give black a chance to play b5 move to get some space on the queen side and get this bishop onto a6. Yeah. So bishop a5 I think could have been played. So black is actually now giving away the d6 pawn. Knight takes d6 is now available, and if white captures that pawn on d6, then what does black play? Knight d6 is still available, guys. So d6 is hanging here. Then we have this bishop can be captured with the knight. Knight takes f3. A difficult move right here, right now. Queen f3. So just going back couple of moves. This was the position, guys. So knight f3 is not forced here, and I don't like this bishop. This bishop is actually not helping much in this diagonal. So this bishop and this knight actually is very well placed on d4. Okay, so this should not be exchanged with a passive piece. This is an active piece, the knight on d4 versus the bishop, a passive piece on f3. So this should not have been exchanged actually in the first place. That gives white a very good position. Now the rook can come to f3 or queen can come to f3 and start the attack on the king side. So it has opened up many options for white here, which, yeah, this is what the problem is, that white black shouldn't have exchanged there on f3. C2 is now hanging. Yep, that should give some chance to black probably to. Interesting. Knight has to capture this, putting the pressure on d4, and there can be this e2 pawn was also hanging. So rook takes e2 was available for black, and it's going to be a wild game because now the center is completely open. These knights are placed beautifully in the center. This queen has progressed a lot, and black has these open files. A file is open, C file is open, E file is open. So it's going to be a very nice game, an open battle. f5 is now hanging, bishop takes f5 is available, but d6 is hanging then. Queen takes d6 is available. So you have to think of all the hanging pieces that are there on the board, and you have to think of different tactics that you can implement using those hanging pieces. So all the viewers out there, just let me know if this audio or video is not clear to you, or if you need anything more that I can add in the screen, or I can answer your questions if there are any. So this threat is a dangerous threat. Now rook takes d4. That would leave black in a better position if these two knights are off the board. And I think knight e4 is now inviting, and then nf2 is very much dangerous. I think there might be a chance of playing rook e1. Then if knight moves, then there is a threat of queen takes e8. Yeah, that's what white is doing right now, putting a mating threat on the e8 square. So black is playing safe here, just capturing the knights first. And if knight takes, then this knight can capture, queen can capture, and then it could be a threat of this smothered mate over here. Knight f2 check, king goes to g1. So knight f2, if those who are not aware, knight f2 check, king g1, knight h3 check, king h8, queen g8 check, rook takes g8, and knight f2 is going to be a check and mate here. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the smothered mate, a beautiful execution of the smothered mate. That's what I was telling about. And really, really a beautiful picture on the board. Right now, white is lost here because after rook takes g1, there is going to be knight f2, check and mate. So I'm just waiting for the last move here, or if white would resign this one. So white, I think, should resign now or play his last move, which is the forced move, rook takes g1. So this is something which is not good actually. White should play his last move, which is forced. So all the viewers out there, if you are not aware what is the smothered mid, this is the best example of smothered mid wherein the king is locked inside and it's surrounded by its own pieces after rook takes g1, and then the knight can come to f2 and deliver a check and mate. So this is not good actually. White should have made his move. I think white is just waiting for his time to run out. So I'm not going to wait now. Let's go back to the tournament and check the next game. Okay, so next game, let's check between this one. So Let's quickly check. So this game is between Nawaz 123 from chess talent in Pakistan versus Desai from Gujarat Lions. Nawaz is 12121 rated. It's a very good rating, and Desai is 1969, which is not a bad rating at all. Let's check what happened in the game. Nawaz is playing from white pieces, and Desai is playing from black side. So d4, c5, d5. This is a old Benoni, guys. This all those viewers who are not aware, d4, c5. When this is played, this is called as old Benoni. Then d5 is played. Then d6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, knight f6, bishop goes to d3, castles h3. Knight goes to a6. I think knight b5 is the idea behind this, or knight c7 and b5 is also played in sometimes. In some cases, a6, rook b8, and b5. So then black played knight b7. Yeah, he's following the idea of b5, knight f3, a6, castles, rook b8, a4, bishop d7, bishop f4, and now b5. So this b5 was almost non-stoppable because of this all these pieces out there, and a good break from b5. So this is a strategy that you have to learn from black side. If you are playing Venona defense against d4 opening, this is something that you should learn. Do a fianchetto on the king side, and the c5, b5, a6 break. This is going to help because this rook is going to get opened soon, and then this bishop from g7 is going to be one of the strongest piece will be attacking in this diagonal, these squares, and it's going to be a very good game for black, I think, as black is able to achieve this b5 break. So pawn takes, pawn takes, knight takes, and now queen d2, trying to support the b2 pawn, and now knight d4 like moves are available. Then probably bishop can also join the battle by playing bishop to b5. Let's see what happened in the game. Knight takes c3 was played. Okay, pawn takes c3, knight g h4, h5, bishop goes to e3. This bishop is going to be critical now because if this bishop remains unchallenged, I think now bishop h6 was also possible. It could have been played. Okay, but this if this bishop has to be challenged by this bishop. If not, then this is going to be a winning bishop for black. So then black has played rook to b3, correctly attacking the c3 pawn, rook to c1, queen goes to b6. All pieces will now start piling up in the queen side here and try to attack this all squares, rook b2 as well. Okay, so then we have bishop goes to g5, e5. E5 is actually, I think it's not required as of now, but okay, let's see what happened in the game further on. e5, rook goes to a6. What if this n percent would have been played? N percent would again helped black to open up this diagonal. So I think e6 could be played here instead of e5. I just don't like shutting this bishop off the queen side. Okay, so then rook a6, and here black has to play. So just all the viewers out there, do you like to shut off your bishop who is on g7 attacking the c3 pawn? Black has just played e5 here, but I think e5 is not the best move. I think you can play e6 or probably rook e8 to just not close this diagonal. So what are your views? All the viewers out there, just let me know in the comment section. I'll shout out your names with your ideas. So let's see what happened in the game. e5, rook a6, then queen went to b7, and rook takes d6 was played. D6 was hanging. So that's the problem by playing the moving your e pawn. Rook to b2, and now white has to play. Where will the queen go? Can queen go to d1, or can he play rook to c2? Is there a trap for this rook? Can this rook get trapped? I think knight f4 is playable now. Knight f4 attacking this bishop. Knight f4 I think must be better because if bishop takes f4, then pawn takes f4, and this bishop will again be a very good piece attacking in this diagonal. So these bishops are attacked now. Look, exchanges happen. So queen takes probably will be played. Queen takes bishop. And just to let all the viewers who have just joined, so this is a game between Nawaz, who is from chess talent in Pakistan team, and between Om Desai from Gujarat Lions. This is the Pakistan versus India, or you can say India versus Pakistan LiChess team battle. We are covering all the games live for you. All the games that are happening between India and Pakistan teams are going to be broadcasted live on this YouTube channel, along with all the openings explained as well as the tactics explained as much as possible. So white has this advantage of creating this passer here because the bishop is also supporting the d8 square. And now rook is hanging, guys. Rook is hanging and this pawn is hanging as well. Yeah, so queen supports both the rook as well as the pawn here. Bishop comes back and attacks this pawn. Now I think knight f4 should be played. It's high time to play knight f4 and thread this knight e2 fork to king and queen. Okay, so knight f4 should be played now. Yes, that's coming in the game. So knight f4 and then knight e2. So meanwhile, I can just see a comment from CB. Hi CB, how are you? Hope you're doing well, safe in your house, and a very hello to you and your family members. So this fork is going to be a deadly fork probably. This attack on here, 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 and now this bishop is going to be powerful bishop. This bishop on g7. That's what I was telling about. Put your knight on f4. Try to attack all the critical squares. And now white pushes the pawn, but that creates a target for black now. Rook c3, and I think this e5 can be captured now. Bishop takes e5. Knight takes rook e8 can be played. Rook e1. Exchange, exchange, and now rook e1 probably. D6. So white is going for a full-fledged win here. He is just trying to push the pawns and get a new queen as soon as possible. So another question from CB. Hi CB. This is your question is what is your FIDE rating, brother? So hi CB. This is Amir Sawan who is commentating right now. I have this YouTube channel Khelo Chess India and my FIDE rating is 2048. That is a classical rating, and I have 2035 as my blitz rating. You can check my free profile on FIDE. And now the d8 pawn, it's unstoppable, guys. I think it's unstoppable. That should be a win for white here. Yep, that's a win for white. It's this d8 pawn is unstoppable now. I'm just waiting for one move from black and then we can go back and check another games. So thanks CB for complimenting me. Hope you're enjoying the live stream. If you have any questions, you can put in the comment section about chess. I would be happy to answer them. So that's black resigned. Let's go back to the tournament and check the next game. So next game is happening between this one. Let's okay. Let's try to pick this one, guys. Okay, so this is happening between Nikaru Hakamura from Gujarat Lions with a rating of 2270 versus Kush Chess from Chess Talent in Pakistan. So let's see what opening happened. D4, E6, Bishop F4, D5, E3, Knight F6, Knight D2, C5, C3. This is a London system which black white is trying to play actually, and this actually is a very good way to play against London system. Putting the pawn on C5 and D5 and challenging the white in center. This is the right way to play from black side. So you can learn how you should play from black side against the London system if you are facing London system in your openings. Yep, pawn takes. So I can see a comment from Ashok. What a blunder! Yes, Ashok, it was a blunder. And now let's see the game. What's happening right now? Queen b3, queen takes b3, e takes b3. So this is again one of the exchanges that happens regularly in the London system, so that this rook is able to attack in the open file. So try to avoid this exchange because long term this rook is going to hold a very good advantage. So CB, hi. CB is asking if you are free, we can play after the stream, brother. Yes, CB, we can play, but I am busy right now. So there are a lot of tournaments which are going on, and I'm covering them. I'm also doing live coaching, so I will be busy for most of the time. But yes, you can send me a request on LiChess. My ID is Simple Player 100. You can send me a request, and then we can probably play sometime in future or in coming days. So 8 takes b3, then we have knight h5, bishop goes to e3, bishop goes to d6, b4. Now this is b4, b5 is going to come, and then a7 pawn will be tried to be attacked. So bishop will go to d3. This king will go in the castle. Rook will come to a3, and the other rook will come on the a1 and try to attack in this a7 file. That's what happens when you just allow this exchange on the b3 square. It helps white to open and attack this a file. Okay, so castles b5, knight goes back, bishop d3, knight f6, knight e5, h6, f4, knight d7, castles, and now this rook should come on a1 soon. So a6, finally black gives up his a7 square, he plays a6, and I think now b3. B3, I'm not sure, probably white is planning to play c4 now, hence b3. So f5, c4, yes. So knight takes e5, pawn takes e5, bishop goes to b4. I'm not happy with this exchange actually. White should have captured with the f pawn so that this pawn can be supported with this d pawn, and it could have been a very good pawn structure. This pawns on b5, c5, d4, e5. So f takes e5 I think was better as compared to d takes e5. Let's see what happened. So d takes e5, bishop goes to b4, then we have knight f3, pawn takes, bishop d7, and then rook to a4. This bishop on b4 is now hanging. Where would it go? It's been supported by the pawn, and we have rook to a2. Knight goes to g6, g3, rook to d8. Now there is a problem of this bishop because it's in the open file, and we have threats like bishop takes b5 coming now to get this free bishop for free. So how white is going to handle this? Rook to d1, and now black has to play, but still in the long run I think these two pawns are going to be targets for black by playing rook here, and I'm just trying to figure out where this knight would go. Knight can come to this e7, c8, and b6 square to attack this c4 pawn, and if pawn is pushed then this knight can go to d5 and have a happy life on this d5 outpost. So that could be a plan for this knight. So, CB, your question is instead of A6, F6 is better or not? Yes, F6 could have been played. And one more thing, so when you're asking the questions, there is a lag between the actual live stream and your comments. There is a difference of about 30 to 40 seconds. Okay, so when your comment comes in, it's already we have passed that position. Okay, so this is a good plan now to knight. Okay, so knight C8. So I was thinking about this plan, knight C8, knight E7, then going back to C8, and then coming to B6. From F8, I don't think it is having any square. Probably it can now try to go to H7 and try to play a G5 move, but already white has a very good control on G5, so that is not going to work. So this knight on F8 is not going to be a very good piece right now. This bishop was hanging. Actually, that's why probably black played knight to F8, but in long run, this knight is going to be a very bad piece. Now king can come to F7, support the E6 pawn, and get this bishop back on E8, knight to D7, knight to B6, likewise. So this plan, guys, king to F7, bishop to E8, knight to D7, knight to B6 might help out. Yeah, this is also not a bad move. This bishop coming in this diagonal now. So it's a good concrete pawn structure now. These two pawns. Okay, so in the long run, this passer might help black to actually win the game. If the pieces are getting exchanged now, if black is able to go in the ending, king and then pawn ending. So just giving you a one good tip here. Here, if whenever you feel that you have some passers, try to imagine this position without minor pieces on the board. Okay, just remove everything, minor as well as major. Just remove these pieces from the board, all these pieces. Okay, and think who will win in this king and pawn ending. That will help you to think who is better in the end game. If you think that you can win that end game, king and pawn end game, you can go for the pieces exchange as early as possible. So this knight is actually, why would black give away the exchange here? Was it forced, guys? Let's go a couple of moves back. So knight f8 was played here. Why? Because the e6 pawn was hanging. Okay, so yeah, so this is something which is missed. The knight, probably knight g6 move is waste. So this knight has consumed lot of moves from the black's game actually. King f7 what was better actually to defend the e6 pawn. This e6 is going to be weakness. It has to be defended by the king, not by your piece. Your piece has to go out and attack somewhere, probably sit on c5, and do some good job over here. So this defending this e6 pawn is not a good idea with the knight. So black has resigned. Let's quickly check what happened in the game, guys. So this is where uh, black actually made a bad move, knight f8, and then give away the exchange there. And now g5. G5 is not going to work. This king has to come to the center and save these pawns. Okay, so g5 is just an exaggeration which is not going to help black here. Yeah, I think that should be the final nail in the coffin. This knight is pinned now, and after even rook d8, you can just capture this knight. Rook takes and knight takes, and these two passers are going to be winning for white then. Okay, let's go back to the tournament and check the next game. Okay, who all are playing right now? We have we have this game. Let us check this one. So this is a game between Nandini, who is from Gujarat Lions, versus the world champion with a zero instead of O. And world champion is from Chess Talent. Nandini is rated 2008, while the world champion is rated 1903. Let's check what happened in the game. So e4 was played by Nandini, e6 by world champion, which is called as French defense for all the beginners out there. Knight e7 is not very common out here. D5 is very common. So c4, that gives an option for white to take the control of entire center. That's what white does here. Knight to g6, knight to c3, b6, g3. And this is going to be a good battle because both these bishops will be challenging each other for the most of the game and creating a lot of tactics on the board. So bishop g2, knight c6, b3. Okay, so white is going for a fianchetto on both the sides, and black is probably going to castle on the queen side now. Interesting. So long castles, knight e2, king goes to b8, a4. So white has started this pawn storm against this king on the queen side. f5. Black starts his attack in the center. That's a very good counterplay by black. So pawn takes, knight d5. This square was a weak square, and that's what rightly has been taken by this knight on d5. We have queen to f7, queen to d2, rook to e8, and castles. So now these two kings are going to be the main, what you can say, opposite side castling is going to give some fireworks on the board. So h5, black starts his attack on the king side, and we have h5, h5, h4. Then there is a threat of this bishop takes h4 now, and knight can come to h4 again. So bishop c3. I'm not sure what's the idea behind bishop c3, but okay, let's see. Bishop takes h4. The sacrifice is there on the board. Pawn takes, knight takes, an exciting game, guys. So this knight is White's castle is completely exposed now. So a5, knight takes g2, king takes g2, and now h pawn is going to be a very coming very fast, and we would have some kind of tactics with this bishop if possible. So this bishop is going to be one of the heroes of the game. So let's see what happened. Pawn takes, and now knight f4, g5, knight h3, and now this g5 pawn was actually hanging, so which can be captured. Okay, e6, and now knight f6, queen check, queen g5, queen f7, king h2. So white has won this one, but let's go and check what happened in the game. So rook to g8, queen e7, and bishop takes d5, queen takes d6 check. So one rule you always have to remember when you are piece up. In this case, white is piece up. Okay, so white is having an extra knight over here. So in this case, you have to try and exchange as much as piece as possible. This is a very good tip for all the beginners out there. Whenever you are piece up, try to exchange as much as possible, so that in the end game you will be left with an extra piece, which will help you to capture opponent's pawn, and then you can queen your pawn and go for a win. So queen e7, that's the right idea, to exchange of the queens as early as possible to avoid any checkmates on the white's king side. We have bishop takes, queen takes d6, and we have king to c8, pawn takes d5, and then queen d7, rook check, king moves, queen check, and that's a simple win for white now. Okay, let's check the blunder wherein black actually lost his queen. So pawn takes was played here, and then he played queen to d7. That was the blunder, guys, because it allowed then rook a1 check. Instead of that, he could have tried to just deliver a mate on this g2 square. That is still not possible because of this very good defense. Rook can come to g1 and defend all the squares. So that's the game. Let's go back to a tournament and check the next game. Let's check this game, guys. E4 D5, a Scandinavian defense by Ram. Ram is playing from Past Pawn team, who is from India, and Asif Abbas is playing from Chess Talent in Pakistan. So E4 D5. So Omkar, I can see a comment from you. Queen E7, Queen takes E7, and Rook G2. Yes, that was correct, but it's a blunder straight away. And so your comments and the live broadcast, it has some time delay, Omkar. So when I get your message, we have already moved on to the next game. So there is a difference of about 30 to 40 seconds. So probably I won't be able to reply on your game, on your moves which you are putting in the comment section, but you can put your questions. I will be happy to answer them. So e4 d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, queen goes back to d8, d4, bishop goes to f5, bishop d3, bishop g4, castles. Okay, then we have c6, bishop e3, e6, h3, bishop h5, rook e1. So this is a very nice setup for black. Actually, black has invested a lot of moves in the pawn moves in the Scandinavian, which generally happens. Look at white's pieces. They are all developed. This rook is developed. Castle has been done, but you can look at black's position. Black, this knight is back, bishop is back, castle is not yet happened. So black is behind in development. That, but that is okay in Scandinavian defense. You are always behind in defense, but you eventually come out of that. If you play very well and if you try to exchange the pieces, you will be in a good position after some time. Like this, the pieces were exchanged on e4 now. Knight takes e4, queen takes e4, and bishop g6. So it's a simple game from black side, not much hokey pokey, just an easy game. Bishop to f5, queen to g3, bishop g6, and I think this is difficult for uh, white now. I think bishop f4 is forced, bishop takes f4, queen takes f4, and queen b6, attacking this b2 pawn now. So how will white continue? Rook e2, supporting the b2 pawn with the rook, and c5. So this is the critical moment of the game, guys. I want to pause here. I want to inform all the viewers out there, this is where you have to play your best. This is late middle game and you have to find some breaks here. Okay, some pawn break which will give you some good attacking chances. So c5 is what one of the pawn breaks is there. e5 is not working right now, but c5 I think should work. And depending upon white's move, if white exchanges, queen can come and then rook can join queen on in c and d files to get exchange and get an equal position. But c5 is an important move. All of you should learn this from black side. c5, rook to e1, rook to e8, d8, pawn takes, queen takes, knight to d4, and then we have bishop g6. In long run, actually, there is some kind of tactics which might come here on e6. Look at the knight on d4, rook, both the rooks in this e file. So black has to be careful here. Rook d5, rook e5, rook to d8, rook takes d5, queen takes d5, queen c7, queen to d7, queen takes, rook takes. So that's what black likes to do. Blacks like to exchange the pieces as much as possible in the Scandinavian and go into an equal endgame with equal chances. f4, f5 is now a threat. So black is playing a6, knight b5 is now stopped. King f2, bishop to e4, g3, king to d8, king to e3, bishop to d5, c4, b6, knight c6 check. So this is actually a bit of problematic now because this bishop would be hanging, right? So okay, so what's happening here, guys? Okay, so the rook is hanging on c5. So after b6, this rook is hanging. Rook is actually trapped. There is no way for this rook to escape this. So c4 was the move which trapped this rook. And b6 is a complete trap of this rook. So how white got out of this trouble? White played knight c6 check first, then king to c7. What if black had played this move, king to e8, right? Then this exchange was possible. This rook was trapped then. Yeah, so king e8 could have been played here, guys. That's was a miss from black side, but let's see what happened. So king was played to c7, then white played knight to e5 check, pawn takes, knight takes, king takes, pawn takes, pawn takes. So that leaves white actually with two pawns here versus this one pawn and these two pawns. So the black is actually a pawn up here. So black should be able to win this one. King moves f5, g4, king moves b4, and yes, black has won the game. But let's see what happened in the ending. So let's go here. b4, pawn takes, and now g6, king to d4, king d6, g5, king c6, king e5, king b4. So this is the precise calculation that you need to do here. So it's like one, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 moves for white to get a queen. Okay. And for black, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 moves for black, 9 moves for white. So white should not have gone for this plan. It's of course losing, right? So this is how you have to calculate quickly on the board. So king to b5, king takes pawn, and this is clear winning for black now. It's still a battle because there are two pawns on the board. Yeah, and now this is winning. Yep. Your white resigned. Let's go back to a tournament. Check another game between. Okay, so these two are from Pakistan teams only. So let's go back to tournament. Let's try to pick up a game between India and Pakistan. So, yep, let's check this game. Okay, that's. So this S Mali 2211 is from Mir Sultan Academy, Sultan Chess Academy, which is from Pakistan, and we have Super Source from Past Pawn team playing out this battle. Let's check what happened in the opening. So it was a Sicilian defense, e4, c5, c3. This is called as an Alapin opening, one of my favorite openings. This gives white a very good chances if black doesn't know how to play here. e4, c5, c3, d5, pawn takes, queen takes, d4, knight f6, knight f3, knight bishop to g4, bishop e2, and e6. This is the way you have to play from black side if you're playing against the Alapin. So bishop e3, pawn takes, and knight c6. Queen is attacked by knight this knight on. So there are a few moves here. There is a queen a5 move. There is a queen d8 move. But queen d7 is not good actually. Queen d7 is blunder. You should avoid queen d7 in such places because of there are some knight e5 tactics which come on along. So queen d8 and castles, bishop d6, h3, bishop f5, queen goes to b3. So in Alapin, when the Alapin opening that is e4, c5, c3, you are most of the times left with this isolated pawn on the d file. And now a great point about isolated pawn is that black can keep attacking this pawn. Okay, and if white misses out, if white exchanges the pieces, and in the end game, this is going to be a liability for white here. Okay, so b6, bishop b5, queen c7, knight to e5, bishop takes e5, pawn takes e5, knight d7, and g f4. Was f4 necessary in the first place? I was just thinking about move like rook c1 here. e5 is hanging, I know, but king is still in the center, so we could have exploited it. So for example, rook c1, knight takes e5, bishop takes c6, knight takes c6, knight b5, and attacking the queen, and then we could have stopped this castle by playing queen a3 or similar move. Okay, so f4, castles, rook to c1, queen b7, pawn bishop takes, queen takes, and knight b5, queen goes to e4, knight d6, a beautiful fork out there on this bishop and queen. This fork, a very nice fork. So queen d3, queen takes, bishop takes, and rook d1. So all pieces, rooks are been developed in the open files. This should give some advantage to white now. So bishop a6, and rook to c7. Black chooses to defend the knight with the rook, and we have knight f7 now because of this discovered attack. So that's a miss from black side. So rook d8 shouldn't have been played. Instead of that, probably so rook d8 is also not possible because of rook takes pawn. Knight c5 is not possible because of bishop takes c5. So that's what happens actually when your rooks are back and you are not able to challenge opponent in the open files. So rook d8, knight f7, king f7, rook takes d7, rook takes d7, rook takes d7, check, king goes to f8, and we have bishop to d2, threatening probably bishop b4 check. So bishop to this is an opposite colored bishop ending, so it is not going to be easy for either of the players to get a win here because of these opposite colored bishops. White does has an advantage of one pawn, but in opposite colored bishops it doesn't matter much, even if you have an extra pawn. f6. What is the threat here? Yes, capturing is forced. And now f7 is the threat. So e5 I think still has to be played now. Pawn to e5. Yes, that's what black plays to make sure that this f7 pawn can be captured with the bishop. f7. I think that's a blunder. Yes, no, it's not a blunder. It's just yeah. I think now rook to g4 check, rook g5 check should be winning for white. Rook g5 check, rook takes bishop is forced, and then white can win easily after this exchange is achieved. So black just missed a trick here. He was playing very well, but just missing out on few last combinations. This should be an easy win for white now. So black resigned. Let's go back to the tournament and check who are leading right now. Gujarat Lions are leading right now with 88 points, followed by the past pawn on 66. Then we have Indian Warriors on 55, Black Knight on 55, Chess Talent in Pakistan on 46. We have Khelo Chess India on 42. Then we have Mir Sultan Academy on 29. India, the team group of Indian chess players, we have on 20. Good Night Chess Club is on 11. Royal Indians is on 2. And then we have, from the individual point of view, we have Sibuna from Indian Warriors with leading with 20 points. The rating is 2105. Then we have Sanjay from Gujarat Lions with the point 14 points. And we have Destroyer from Black Knight with 12 points. Aditya Deshmukh from Past Pawns on 12 points. Then we have Aman CMZ from Black Knight on 12 points. King of Chess 2311 rating. Look at this rating, whooping rating of 2311. Currently on 6 positions. And then we have Nikaru Hakamura. I have seen a lot of this games of Nikaru Hakamura. Then we have Samarth Rao from Past Pawns. Yukdeep from India, the team of group chess Indian players. Then we have Shamir from Past Pawns. So let's go and check one of the games between. We have this one going on. So we have Mir Sultan Academy team member Mukhtar Hussain were playing against beginner player 555 from Gujarat Lions. And let's check what happened in the opening. F4. F4 is called as Bird's Opening. So question from Aditya Srivastav, आप क्यों नहीं खेल रहे? Aditya, yes, I am playing. I'll be playing soon. So after this game, probably I'll try to join and play a game or two. So f4, c5, this is called as bird's opening. The first move when white plays f4, this is called as bird's opening. And c5 and d5 are the right replies for against this f4 move. So then we have knight c6, c3. c3 is again a different move, but it's like going into d4 and pawn e3 setup with all the pawns, this pawn chain over here, this pawns. So b2, c3, d4, e3, and f4 pawns. But this bishop is generally becomes a bad piece in that case. So e6, e3, d5, bishop d3. Surprising again, bishop d3. I think d4 should have been played before bishop d3. c4, bishop c2. We have knight e7, d4 now. And I think here black should have captured this pawn because then black is having a better control of the center. There is no central pawn in d file from white side, and we have open c file for black to attack. Okay, so d4, g6, castles, bishop g7, knight d2, knight goes to f5, queen e2, castles, knight goes to e5, f6, knight takes c6, b takes c6. So this exchange again this actually is a difficult situation always, guys. When you are playing from black side and opponent's knight sits on e5, you are under dilemma what to do. Should I capture this knight? Should I play f6? Should I play some other move? It's a big dilemma, and here f6 is probably, I think it's a good move just to make sure that this knight is not happy in the center, just it gets out of the board, because this knight went to f3, it went to e5, and now if it captures on c6, this knight is going to be out of the board. So three moves, one to f3, one to e5, and then to c6. Three moves this knight has made, and it will be going off the board. So the pieces in which you have invested more moves, that should not go out of the board, okay, unless you are getting an advantage. So f6, and that piece is now out of the board, that knight is gone off the board. So all the moves, all these three moves that white has done may not be helpful for him. And now in return, he has given this open file for this black rook, which can come to b8 and start attacking in the b file. So this actually was not the best moves. This knight e5 and knight takes c6. He should have avoided that. Instead of that, you could have gone for b3 or so different kind of break here, which will help you in the center, or even king h1, rook g1, and g4 move, trying to attack the king side on black's castle. Okay, so after this, b3 was played. Yeah, b3 was the right move to destroy this pawn chain. So whenever you find that your opponent's pawns are sitting in your territory, just try to play this b3 like moves, which will put some pressure on these pawns, and you can get them off the board very soon. But there is a tactic now. So if you capture, yeah, you can capture actually. Yeah. So knight goes to d6, and we have bishop d3. So everything on the c4 square, a lot of action happening over there. Queen goes to a5, c4, bishop takes, queen takes, and now this c4 is defended, and this uh, c3 is also defended. This was attacked by the queen, but the queen on d3 is supporting this c3 pawn. Then we have knight to b5, then c4. c4 is again not an easy move, guys, because this attacks a lot of squares. There is a option of c takes d5. If e takes d5, then black can get this open file to attack the e3 pawn, and then later on probably put his both rooks in the e file to attack this. So this exchange is now critical if this exchange happens. Okay, then we have knight goes back to c7, pawn takes, pawn takes. Yeah, that's what I was saying about it. After playing so well, you should not create a backward pawn. This is a weakness in your camp now. As a white, you should avoid such positions wherein black has some target. So this is a target for black now to attack this e3 pawn as much as possible. So f5, e5, e4, knight c7, rook to b1, rook to b8, knight to a5. Now the c6 pawn is hanging here, guys. So how can that be defended? Knight to d, e6, and c6 is something that black is willing to give away. He has what? Knight takes c5, d takes c5, and bishop takes a1 available. Let's see what happened in the game. Knight takes c6, rook goes to e8. That's interesting because now rook b7 is allowed, and knight takes c5 is something which I just mentioned that it is a nice tactic and it has happened on the board. Rook takes g7, another tactical shot on black actually. So instead of capturing this knight, white has gone for a beautiful move. Rook takes g7, and it's a check now. So if king captures, d takes c5, and then I think white would be in a better position with this extra two pieces for rook. Okay, so king takes, pawn takes knight, then rook c8, bishop check, and king moves, knight to e7, rook takes c5, and bishop d4. So look at this knight. Can this knight be trapped here? I think rook c7 was trapping the knight. Is there a square for knight to escape after rook c7? This knight is trapped, right? Knight cannot go to g8, knight cannot go to c8, knight cannot go to c6, knight. Okay, d5 pawn is hanging. I'm sorry, guys, I missed this one. So d5 pawn was hanging, hence the rook c7 was not possible. So rook was played to c2, knight takes d5, rook to c8, pawn to h3, pawn to g5, pawn takes, king takes, bishop a7, rook check. So that's what black shouldn't do actually, because these two pieces are going to be very much difficult to handle together after the exchange. This pawn is now hanging. I think bishop, yeah, knight c3. I think that this should be winning for white, easily winning for white now. Okay, now this is a trap again because white has left this c3 knight hanging. If rook takes c3, then there is a bishop g7 check to king, and then if the king moves, then bishop can capture the rook on c3. This tactic is called as a skewer. Okay, so let's check. This is an ending, and it's a difficult ending. It's not a straightforward. So why did white give away this pawn? Okay, probably there's nothing to, no plan as of now. Right, yeah, that would get the h5 pawn, and now I think white should be winning here. Yep, and now the pawns will start rolling very soon. So rook a5, knight check, and now pawns will start rolling now. Yep, lot of hard work by white here to get these pawns to the queen, and black has to keep defending, try to keep creating some tactics here, but I think it's all over now. I think this check was just finished. This check, king moves and queens. Okay, instead of the king move. So king f5 was played. Oh, it was a bishop and knight checkmate. Let us quickly check, guys, what happened here. So this was played pawn push, king moves, and we all already seen this. So let's quickly go to the position and this position, guys. So here king g8, and white actually wasted a move to play king f5. Straight away it was a win with this h7 and h8 queens. Okay, so but that was a miss from white side. So let's see what white played here. White played king to f5, then we had rook to e7, then pawn h7. That was generally actually a mistake to play pawn a7. He could have played first knight f6 check, king moves, and then pawn can be pushed to h7. Yep, because then rook takes h7, knight can capture the h7. Yep. So pawn h7, rook takes, king takes, and pawn takes. Now it would be interesting. So king goes here. We have knight to e5, king moves, bishop to g5, king moves, king here, and there was a long. Yep. So that's the way to trap the king. Yep, so that's the way to trap the king when you're having this knight and bishop. Just make sure that this diagonal is blocked and king is left with these two squares. And also remember that when you're playing the bishop and knight ending, your bishop should be in the same colored as that of this bishop, of this corner. Okay, not of the bishop. So this mate can happen only in the same corner of your bishop color. So if it's a dark squared bishop, it can happen in a dark corner. If it is a light squared bishop, it will happen in the light square corner. So king h8, knight goes to g4, king goes to h7, knight f6 check, king h8, bishop g7, check and mate. A very nice check and mate execution by white here. Let's go back to the tournament. I can try joining the tournament, but the problem is I might get paired up with the Indian team members. I don't want to do that. I want to cover more games from India versus Pakistan games. So let's just check who all are playing from the Pakistani teams. So we have total 143 players are playing this. So Mukhtar Hussain is leading from the Mir Sultan Chess Academy. Let's check if he is playing a game. So Mukhtar is playing against Nandini now. Let's check what is happening in the game. So e4 was played by Nandini, e6 was played by Mukhtar, e4 e6, d4 c6, yeah, c4 d5. So this is like getting converted into a French defense with a different mode, advanced variation of French defense. Pawn takes, bishop b5 check, bishop d7, queen to a4. Actually, white should not give this check in first place because this bishop is going to be a bad bishop. Yeah, bishop can come to a6 and try to exchange, but in most cases, this bishop is going to be a bad bishop, and this bishop on d3 in this diagonal is actually a very good piece to attack the castled king. But if you are giving away the bishop in the opening itself, then in the long run, it will be difficult for you to create any attacks on black. Okay, now let's check if this bishop is exchanged. How is white going to attack this castled king? He has to play somewhere in the c file now. He cannot go for the kingside attack. Rook c1, knight b6, knight d2, knight c4, pawn takes, bishop queen to c2. Now consider guys, if there was a bishop, light square bishop on b1 square and a light square bishop on black light square bishop on d7, this b1 bishop would have been a lot better as compared to this d7 bishop which was exchanged by white. So you have to avoid such exchanges which will give you good pieces in the middle game. You should not exchange your bishop here. Your bishop should have been preserved on this b1 square. But let's see what happened in the game now. So rook to b1. Now white will have to keep defending because he doesn't have any attacking pieces. Let's quickly go back couple of moves and check. Rook to b8. Okay. I was just thinking about knight f4 move here because knight e2, queen c3 is then on, queen c3 check, and knight e2 could be a fork to king and this bishop. So let's see what if that tactic was played in the game. So g3, that's stopping the knight f4 now. Yep, now h5, h4 should be played by black here. Knight f8, bishop e7, rook to d7, bishop d6, rook to b8. Now this is a difficult situation for black. He has to make sure there is no mating threat on this f8 square after the rook's exchange are done. I think even queen after this exchange, this e6 pawn is going to be weak after queen e3. Pawn takes f6, she takes f6, and this queen can come to e3 and attack this e6 pawn. It's a nice position, guys. So d7 is actually bishop f8 is available. Bishop f8 has to be answered by rook takes d7, and yeah, bishop f8 actually was a good move. If bishop f8, then rook takes b7 is forced. Then this rook can come to b7, and there is a threat on g7. Queen g7 check and mate. How? Okay, but then queen there will be perpetual checks from black. White has to take care of the perpetual checks by playing the move like h4 here, and then go for this exchange. Perpetual check should not be allowed. I think now black will be happy here. Rook check, yes, rook check. King goes to and queen f5 check is available. Queen takes f3 is available. Rook takes b7. Rook has to be taken care of first. d7 was given free. Is there a mate on white after queen h2? Not d7. Yeah, bishop takes f8 first. So bishop takes f8 now. Queen takes h2. What will white play? King can come to g4, and then we have rook c4 check, pawn f4, and queen again can come to d2. I think it's okay. Bishop takes f8 can be played here. That's what I think Nandini from Gujarat Lions is thinking right now to play bishop takes f8. Rook takes d7. Okay. I think white should be White can get a perpetual here actually. So black is going for the ending here, but I think rook b7 is winning now. Rook b7. So I think it was adventure by black to give away this rook, and it was a good attack as well. No doubt for that from white side, but this is actually a bit of adventure from black side to give away his pieces and get his king exposed. Knight c5 or knight c5 is I'm thinking about now. Knight c5, then rook check probably, or rook c7 was doesn't work because of uh, yeah, I think it's winning for white because any move knight c5, rook c7, rook check, king to g6, and if knight moves, then there is a mate on c8. So he goes for knight takes e5, sacrificing a piece here. So what white thinks is that he can win with these pawns, but I think it's difficult for white for black now. Actually, not white, black, because these three pawns are nothing as compared to what this king, this rook, and this bishop are doing. They are threatening a mate on king, and these pawns cannot save this check and mate. So probably black has to resign soon now. Now just moving the rook can create a good mating threat on e7, e7 and e8. They should be winning for white now. So all the viewers out there who have not yet subscribed, just a request from our side, do subscribe to the channel. This helps us a lot. And that's just one click for you to just subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you get our notifications every time. Why is actually this risk is not required actually, but I think King D7 is winning now. King D7, D okay, he's going for the exchange. King D7, D4, D3, D3, D2, D1. No, no, I think knight. Okay, so it's not winning. So white has to be careful now. It's oh, that's a mistake probably. It's a mistake. Okay, so white is going to put both the pawns on the fifth rank, and now black. Yes, so this is winning for white now. That's a mistake. Black would not have captured the pawn. Capturing the pawn gives an easy win for white now. It was a nice tactic, but this is winning for white now. Okay, let's go back to the tournament and check the next games. Let's check this one. This is going to be a nice battle, guys. So Aman CMZ is from Black Knight with the rating of 2157, while we have Smali from Mir Sultan Chess Academy with a rating of 2196. D4 was played by Aman and Black played C5, D5. So this is the Benoni defense. I think we saw one game from Smali some time back. He played a very nice Benoni defense, guys, and let's check what he's playing in this game. I think f4 should be played before before all the moves, and f4 helps you in getting this e5 break sometime in the game. Oh, knight takes. I think pawn takes is most favorable move here, but I think just because his bishop is pinned, white is trying to create some square for his knight here, and that will leave actually black with a backward pawn. This d6 is going to be the long-term weakness. So probably queen d2 and rook d1 will put sufficient pressure on this d6 pawn and it can be captured in the late middle game. So queen check, b4, an interesting game again. So if okay, so pawn takes is not possible because there will be a knight f6 check and black might end up losing up a piece here. So queen has to go back and support the knight. Pawn takes. Okay, white has won the game, but let's quickly check. So bishop g5 I think is made all the difference. Okay, bishop g5 move was important here. Let's see how the game progress. Pawn takes, knight takes, queen check. Again, I think it's not worth. Here, black could have played just simple h6 or knight d7 would have been a better move to support this knight. Yep. So queen if I check, b4, queen d8, pawn takes, and e5. So they are. This is the worst thing that can happen right now. This knight is pinned. Of course, a relative pin, but a valid pin, and this e5 should be difficult for black to handle now. So bishop e6, blunder again. Bishop goes to f8, h8, and knight e7, check and mate. Not a mate, but it's a completely dominant position. So you have to take care, guys. This is not the way black should have played here. So black messed up with the bishop g5 line here. Bishop g5, e6 is okay, pawn takes is okay, pawn knight takes is okay, knight d7 should have been played here. That's what is my judgment. Okay, so let's go back to tournament and check another games. Last 53 minutes remaining, 1 hour and 10 minutes already passed. We have another game between Smalley and Nikaru Hakamura. Let's see, check out this game. E4, G6, D4, Bishop G7, Bishop E3, C5, C3, pawn takes, knight goes to F6, E5, knight D5, knight C3, knight takes, pawn takes, castles, f4, d6, knight f3. So white is investing a lot of time in establishing his pawn structure. So before going into the game, actually, let me just introduce both the players. Smalley is from Mir Sultan Academy, and we have Nikaru Akamura from Gujarat Lions from the Indian team. So bishop g4, we have bishop e2, bishop queen to a5, attacking this c3 pawn and trying to deliver this difficult fork. But it's not much of a loss. But let's see what white played. Queen d2, pawn takes, and knight d7, castles. Now this white rook has a very good open file, and knight g5 like moves are very likely to come, or bishop at 6 might come in the future. Let's see, rook to c8, attacking the c3 pawn, rook c1, knight goes to, and now knight c4 is one of the threats actually, so that he can capture this bishop on e3. So h3, bishop takes, rook takes, e6, knight c4 I think still can be played just to put more pressure because of the knight c4, bishop takes, rook takes, this another rook, other rook can come to c8 and attack the c3 pawn. So we have e6, bishop to g5, then it's the live position. We are waiting for black to make a move. So an interesting game. White has a good f file here, which is open. He has a bishop pair, but they are not currently complementing each other to attack the king side. And looking at black's position, black has these targets. C3, rook can come to, no, rook cannot come to d8 now, not allowed. So this will be a danger move. This bishop can capture. So he has to play h6. No, h6 cannot be played because we have a double attack here. So finally, this knight has jumped to c4, and I think white will exchange this knight because this bishop is not helping right now anywhere in the position. Yep. So rook takes, and now the f7 pawn will be under pressure. Probably now queen c7 can be played, or even rook to e4. So queen c7 was played to defend this f7 pawn, and then this rook can go to c8. We'll have to check that one. This is the moment where black gets a chance to play h6 move, so that this bishop cannot go back to g5. And don't capture this bishop. No, this f6 pawn might create some mating threats here. So not to capture, but yes. Play b5 and play b4. Try to destroy this pawn chain. Black has to destroy this c3 d4 pawn chain to get a better position now. So queen to f4. Yep, that's a way. Actually, nice way to play this h5 and then create a 6 pawn, trying to create a mate on g7. So black has to be very careful now. Just I think queen d8 can be played. Queen d8 and just try to get this queens exchanged. Yes, d4 is now so queen e7 and rook d8. Queen e7 and rook d8 can be a good plan. So Mayank, I can see your comment, but the white squares have become weak. But even though they are weak, the black pieces are not in position to get this get the control of the light weak squares. Yep, now there will be threat of queen h6 and get a mate on this square. So queen f8 probably, yes. Queen f8, queen g7, queen g7 now. E7 is now hanging actually. Also, rook cannot leave the last rank. This rook has to defend. If rook comes up somewhere, then there is a check which is coming here. If queen f8, we have rook h8 check, and black might lose his queen, giving away his rook. So black has to take care that this last rank is defended by this rook. He can just push the pawns now. Actually, just push the pawns and try to create some passer over here. Don't give away your a pawn. That is your winning chance, black. Oh, d4 and now rook f3 again, attacking the f7 pawn. Queen b6 is a blunder because of rook c1 check and capture the queen back. So queen b6 is a blunder. Queen a5 is blunder. Queen has to come back to a3 now. That's the only move, but then d4 will be hanging. So I think that's a good tactic by black. Now this d4 pawn is, he won't be able to save the d4 pawn. Yeah, and the check. And the e5 will follow. Queen e3 is forced now. If queen takes, rook takes e3 to support the pawn on e5. So just to give a brief, guys, this okay. So king h2 is there, queen check is there, rook h3 can come to defend. So just to give a brief, guys, Nikaru Hakamura is playing from Gujarat Lions, an Indian team, and Smali, who is playing from white side, is from Mir Sultan Chess Academy, a team from Pakistan. And today we have this beautiful tournament going on, India versus Pakistan, broadcasted live on Khelo Chess India YouTube channel. So black is preferring to go in the end game, and I'm just wondering how the extra pawn, f is an extra pawn, f7 is an extra pawn, can be converted into a win. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your plans? This is a nice pawn structure. So black definitely has a very good advantage, but he has to convert that advantage into a win. only then his structure and all his good things can count. Okay, now the king can come to e7, probably go to a d7, and then to c6 support the b5 pawn and get his rook rolling on the c file then. Yes, that's what black has done. A nice plan in the ending to cover up all the critical squares. g4, interesting. So I think this the rook is now free to just come to the a3 square, so the c3 square. I think there was some moves missed in between due to the network lag. Let me just quickly show you what happened over here. So this was the position and king moves to c6 here. King moves to the rook went to the d1 square and then the rook came back and there was a rook exchange, and now this should be winning for black actually. If white has resigned, so let's quickly check what happened in the end game. So this was a position, g4 was played, g5, rook to d5, queen, king move to e4, rook to d1, rook exchange. Actually, white should not offer an exchange here because he is pawn down. It would be difficult for him to defend with one pawn less with the kings, only the kings on the board. So king takes and king b2, pawn takes, king takes. Again a weak move here by white actually, and he should have. Uh, okay, I think there was some miss here. Yeah, so king d3 was problematic actually. King d3, I think he played because of king c5 here, and king can go back to e4. Yeah, so good triangulation by black here, either to get the access of this e4 square, e5, d5 square, or the a4 square. A good triangulation, a good example here. So let me show you. So king b6 was played here. So if king goes to c3 here, then king can come to c5, come to d5 and capture the pawn on e5. That's one option. And in the game, actually white played king to d3. Let us check that, and that gave access for black to come and capture this e3 pawn. Okay, why white played king d3? Because now if king c5, king can come to e4 and defend this pawn, but king d3 was exploited by playing king to a5, king c3, king a4, king b2, b4, pawn takes, king c2, king c4, and then white resigned over here. So let's go back to the tournament and try to find another game happening between India and Pakistan. Let's first check who are leading from the team's perspective. Past pawn is on 159 points, a huge lead. Then we have Gujarat Lions coming up very quickly with 156 points. Then we have Black Knight. There is a huge difference of still around 30 points between the second and third place. Then we have Indian Warriors on 105, Mir Sultan Chess Academy on 91, Chess Talent in Pakistan on 86, Khelo Chess India on 70, Good Night Chess Club on 29, Indian Group on 23, and Royal Indians on 14. So very few players from Royal Indians, so I'm not covering much of the games there. So let's go back and check who all are playing the game from India and Pakistan. So we have Tejas and Mir Sultan playing a game here. Let's check that one. Okay, so that's the game which is going on. And just to give you the brief and introduction of the players, Tejas is playing from Indian Warriors. He has a rating of 1905. And Esmali is playing from Mir Sultan Chess Academy from Pakistan. His rating is 2186. Let's quickly check what happened in the opening. D4 C5, Mir Sultan we saw in his Mir Sultan team member Esmali we saw playing a very good Benoni defense. And white is going for so black resigned. Okay, let's just check what happened in the game. D4 C5, E3, E6, knight F3, F5, C4, knight F6, knight C3, B6, G3. G3, I think I'm not so much comfortable because you're playing E3 as well as G3. So this F3 square generally becomes a weak square because none of the pawns are supporting the F3 pawn, F3 square. So G3, bishop B7, bishop G2, bishop E7, castles, and bishop D2, D6, knight F5, knight G5, bishop takes, king takes, and I think queen F3 can be played now. Queen F3, yes. Knight goes to A6, pawn takes, knight takes. This knight is very well placed now. It can come to E4 soon. I think B4 can be played by white now, but yeah. So h6, knight goes back to h3, knight e4. So that was the kick was given to this knight just to get a more control on the e4 square, guys. So h6 was played before, and then h6, then knight h3, knight e4, knight to f4, and g5, knight goes to g6, and then g4. This queen is kind of cramped right now. Queen is not having much space to expand itself and try to go for a good attack. So where would the queen go now? So queen went to the e2 square. We have queen c6 now creating a lot of tactic. Oh, but this knight e7 is there. And I think knight e7 is winning for white now. Black resigned. So that's a blunder from black. Black should have taken care. He should have played queen to b7 to create this all tactics. Okay, I think queen b7 was better. Or even rook f6 could have been played. Right? Rook f6 was also a good move. Or even rook f7. But queen c6 was a blunder, a huge blunder. Knight e7, and it's a loss for the black here. Okay, so there are a few comments. Ritesh Gupta, I can see your comment. Rook exchange, I can see Mayank's comment. Sir, please explain triangulation. Black could force exchange. Yes, Ritesh Gupta, it was a force exchange and it was a very good ending the previous game. So let's go back to the tournament now and check a new game which is happening between India and Pakistan. Let's just check who are playing right now. So let's check this game. Okay, so we have Vishal Pabari from Gujarat Lions and we have Rasis Tyre from Mir Sultan Academy, who is from Pakistan. Gujarat Lions are from India. Let's check what happened in the opening, guys. So e4, c6. So Karo Khan defense was played by Vishal Pabari from Indian team of Gujarat Lions. d4, d5, pawn takes, bishop d3, knight c3, knight c6. So this is an exchange variation of Karo Khan defense. All the beginners or the viewers who are not aware, when e4 is played and black plays this c6 move, it is called as Karo Khan defense. Then white plays d4 and black plays d5, challenging the center, and white can exchange. This is called as Karo Khan defense, and this again can lead to a Carlsbad pawn structure. I'll explain that if that structure happens. Yes, I think that structure, no, it's not happening because of g6 move. Bishop g7, knight f6, knight f3, castles, bishop to f5, and this bishop, I think bishop can be captured here on f5. Bishop f5, gf5, and the threat would be of knight to e4. f3 will be knight moves, and f3 can be played in that case to kick this e4 knight away. But let's see, rook e1 was played, a6, bishop takes, g takes, and knight to e5. I don't get. Okay, so I let me explain you guys. So this position, why did black play e6 here? Okay, the answer is that there is a concept of minority attack. Okay, minority attacks means that you can play b5, you can play b4 and try to create a weakness on this c3 square after the exchange of these pawns. And this c3 pawn will be an backward pawn which can then be attacked by this rook on c8, queen on a5, Knight can go to a5, sit on the c4 square. So that is called as minority attack. You have to learn these attacks. You have to Google out what is minority attack. There are a lot of videos of e6 and b5, how to use these two pawns to attack this pawn structure and create some weakness here to win from black side. So just Google out Carlsbad pawn structure and try to understand how you can use that concept of Carlsbad pawn structure with minority attack and win your games on the queen side just by getting an extra pawn and extra piece. Okay, so that's the reason why a6 was played here. A good idea by Vishal Pabari from Gujarat Lions by playing a6 and try to attack this b5 b4 attack. Okay, so we have bishop takes f5, g takes f5, knight goes to e5, e6. I have few questions. Let me finish the game, guys, and I'll entertain your questions. Just give me some time. So knight d2, knight goes to e7, bishop goes to g5, knight goes to g6, and we have an exchange. So this exchange I think should be avoided because of this double pawns are good in favor of white now. But okay, so exchange happened, and then he captured with the h pawn. Now what if the black captures with the f pawn? The reason is that the e6 pawn will remain hanging, rook can capture the e6, and again that would be a loss, not loss, but a bad position for black there. So h6 was played, knight f3, queen to c7, knight to h4. Interesting, knight h4. I am not able to identify the purpose of knight h4 here. Knight to e4, bishop to e3. I think f4 was not possible. F4, yep. F4 and then F3. F3 is not possible, but F4 was at least possible here to just drive this bishop away. So bishop F6, knight F3, rook to C8, rook C1. So black continues his plan of doing the minority attack and not do any adventure on the king side. That is a correct way to play. So g4, pawn takes, queen to e7, bishop to h6, bishop g7, bishop comes to f4, bishop f6, and now king to g2, one idea of this rook h1 and trying to attack in the h file. So king g7, queen goes to e2, rook to h8, rook to h1, rook to g8. This is again interesting. Now king can go to f8 and go to e8 and have a some safe square there. So now queen to e3, king f8, bishop h6, king moves, bishop to f4, and now g5. I was thinking from okay, so if g5 would have been played here, then these two rooks would have been dead rooks, and then probably white could have gone for quick b3 c4 break. Okay, I'm just thinking from some locking this king side point of view and playing on the queen side instead. Now the king is on in the center. Hence, I was thinking in this lines that we can open up the queen side now, try to attack the king in the center. Okay, so bishop comes back, g5, bishop to e5, bishop takes, knight takes, and rook to h5. g4 pawn is under attack. f3 is the idea. Knight moves and rook takes bishop. Rook takes pawn can be played. So f3 supporting the pawn. We have knight d6, and this knight can now probably support the f5 break if I'm not sure. Okay, pawn takes, pawn takes. So f6, knight is hanging, knight goes back. Knight to f4, a very nice move, a nice maneuver of this knight. This knight can come to g3 now, attacking the queen and also supporting the h5 pawn. This is pinned, so the pawn cannot capture the knight. Okay, so let's check what happens. Queen f4 was played. We have queen h2 supporting the knight now, so queen cannot capture the knight. And then we have queen check, king moves, queen check, and I think knight e7 is forced, yes, and knight to f2, f5, trying to open up the white's king, rook to e1, pawn takes, knight takes, and what's this rook takes possible here? There are two possibilities. This queen c2 check is possible, and rook takes g4 is also possible. Okay, so let's check what happened. h3 check was given, king to h2, queen check, king takes, and now rook h8 check, and there could be a very good mating threat on. Not yet. This h2 square is well guarded by this knight, or there would have been a queen h2 check and mate. So queen comes back to f4 now. I think this should be manageable for white. Although his king is exposed, and I Oh, is it a winning move? Yes, that's a win for black. That's a win for black. A sudden move out of nowhere. Knight comes to f5. There is a check on the g3 square, and the queen takes f5 is now forced, giving a win to black here. Check this move, guys. Check this move. Check this move. Okay, so this check was the problem. This check should not have been given. So white has resigned. Let's go back few moves. This f4, queen f4 check is a blunder, guys, because knight f5 finishes the game right away. Okay, so this queen f4 check should have been avoided. What else the white can play here? White could have played queen to, no, then there's an f5 check again. So queen to d7 was a better move here. Just trying to, sorry, queen d7 trying to attack this e6 square was a good move here. There's also a threat of this knight e5, then but h2 has to be guarded by this queen, and there's a checkmate here. So knight has to guard this. Yeah, but I think queen d7 was a simple plan to continue. But queen f4 was played, and then knight f5 wins straight away for this black, because this all squares are blocked. King cannot go in any of these squares. There's a check, and queen has to capture the knight, causing a loss for white here. So a good win for Resistire from Meet Sultan Chess Academy from, sorry, Vishal Pabri from Black. He's a good win from Vishal Pabri with Black from Gujarat Lions. So let's go back to the tournament and check few games now. So there was a question, sir, can you please recommend a good website for endgames from Must Watch? Yes, Must Watch. You can get a very good website. I have created a video of a website which is chessendgames.net. You can check my YouTube channel. There is a video of chessendgames.net, how to use that website, because you can practice your endgames against Stockfish itself directly with the Stockfish. You don't need a partner to practice your endgames. You can just go to uh, chessendgames.net and you can win it, where you can practice the endgames right away. I'll just try to bring that video for you on the screen. But meanwhile, let's go back and check one of the games which is happening between Smali and Vivek. Smali is from the Pakistan team. So, yep, this is the game. Let's quickly check what happened in the opening. E4 is e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, then we have bishop a4, knight f. This is the Royal Lopez variation, guys. Castles, bishop e7, rook e1, d6, c3, b5, bishop c2, and this is going for a regular variation of the main line of Royal Lopez. So black can go for knight a5, c5 now, if possible. Bishop g4 is played. I think knight d2, knight f1 can be played now. So bishop e3, okay, supporting the d4 pawn first. Pawn takes rook to e8. h3, bishop h4, h5, knight d2, and knight will go to f1 and g3 now. So this has been moved to bishop b1. So meanwhile, watch. I don't must watch. I don't have your name, but I'm just calling you by your ID. Let me try to show you that video which I've created, and that video explains you how you can enable the stockfish in the endgame practice itself. Okay, so you don't have to go into a very deep knowledge. You don't have to have any deep knowledge or anything detailed about this in games. It's a simple website. Meanwhile, queen b3 has been played, trying to attack the b5 pawn here. I think rook b8 is expected. Rook b8, yes, rook b8 was played. Queen d3 again. I'm just trying to figure out, find a video for you. Must watch. Knight h4. Probably f5 is the square that this knight is targeting to go for now. So just guys, taking a pause here to make you understand how to practice end games at home right now. All you all are home right now, and you can just practice this end games website. This I am just opening a small window here. This is my YouTube channel wherein we have all the videos. You have to click on videos, you have to scroll down, and after scrolling down, you will find this video, free chess endgames coaching and practice. So must watch. You can click on this video, and it will explain you how you can practice the endgames. This URL I'll mention in the comment section, which you can click. Okay, in the chat section. So an interesting position, guys. E5, the knight was hanging and the queen was hanging on d3 as well. Let's just quickly go back couple of moves and just check what happened in the game. So queen b6 was played here. White played e5 move, pawn takes, and then c4. Queen went to f3 and knight went to d7. So now the e5 move, e5 square has been attacked twice with the knight and queen, knight and rook. Queen d5, d7 is hanging now, so probably rook b7 or knight c5, even knight c5. I think knight c5 is a good move here. That knight would come back into the game. Or even bishop c5 can be played here. Bishop c5, queen takes knight, bishop takes f2. Black goes for a simple line of queen e6, rook e6. And now again this e5 pawn will be under attack. So f4 is played now. This bishop will be a bit of uh, f6 can be played now. Can we play f6? No, g6 will be hanging because of this bishop. So first bishop c5 check by black, king goes to h2, and now I think we can play f6. F6, no, pawn takes, rook takes, pawn takes. Yeah, g6, okay. So it's still a risky move. Probably get this rook to a better position and then try to play the f6 break. So for studying the end games, I have given a video link in the comment section. All those who want to study the end games, you can watch that video and practice your end games against Stockfish. All the viewers out there who haven't yet subscribed, just a request to you, subscribe to the channel. This will help us a lot. It gives a very good support and morale to the YouTubers if you subscribe to the channel, if you like the video and share with your friends. So do that and it will be helpful to us. Right now this knight is attacking this d4 bishop, so knight can come to b3 actually, or okay, d3. How okay, so this rook is hanging on e1. So counter attack. So first this white was attacking the bishop. Black played knight to d3 and does try to do a counter attack on e1. Even now the b2 is hanging here. So meanwhile, the white is thinking. We have another question from Must Watch. So Must Watch, you're asking if how many months it will take for me to reach a level to play tournaments like Khelo Chess India tournaments. Currently, I am fiddling around 1100 and 200 rating on LiChess. So must watch, there has to be a regime. Okay, a regime means a diet or like we suggest, right? In the morning you need to have breakfast, in afternoon you need to have your lunch, in the evening you need to have your high tea, in the night you have to have your dinner. Similarly, in chess there has to be a pattern, there has to be a discipline to learn your chess. Okay, the first point is every day you have to solve minimum of 5 puzzles, maximum of 20 puzzles if you have more time. Number 2, if you have if you're playing online games, make sure you analyze each and every online game that you play. Even if you win, you lose, doesn't matter. Analyze your game. There is another video in which I have mentioned, I have given you secrets of how you can analyze your games for free using LiChess. Okay, so you can actually analyze your games. You have to analyze your games daily. First point, I mentioned that you have to solve at least 5 puzzles, minimum 5 puzzles to 20 puzzles every day. Second is you have to analyze each and every game of yours that you play online, offline with any of your friends. Number 3, you have to prepare your opening repertoire. Don't just select a random opening and play anything on the board. Select a opening repertoire, follow a grandmaster. For example, if you like to play open games, try to play Sicilian defense. If you like open games, try to play e4. If you like closed games, you can try to play French defense from black side against e4. If you like closed games, try to play King's Indian defense from your against d4. Meanwhile, a beautiful double attack from by this bishop here, and now this rook has to go back on e8, and bishop can just capture this rook. This should be winning for white. White is already piece up. So that's few points and a guidance for you must watch, that you have to follow these points, solve at least 5 to 10 puzzles every day. Then uh, prepare your opening repertoire, analyze your games, and every game you analyze has to go in your book. If you follow this for at least 3 months, you will be at least seeing the change of 100 points in each of these months. So if you are today is April 26th, okay, so after 3 months, that is May, June, July, if you follow this regime or this pattern or this discipline for next 3 months, then you should be reaching at least of 1600 or 1500 rating in July. Okay, try this. I bet you can do this. Okay, I'll be happy if you reach that rating, because it's very difficult. Players are generally very lazy. They don't like to practice and they don't like to study. They just like to play and play every day. But that's not the way you can improve. You have to analyze each and every game. Just follow this regime, and that after 3 months, I can guarantee that your rating will be 1600. I also do online coaching sometimes. So if you are interested, we can have a couple of sessions. I can guide you how you can go about your of your self-training program. I'll make you independent of so that you don't need a coach and you get the right things to prepare for your tournament, for your games. So coming back to the game, so that's all from my side. A lot of philosophical talking. Now going back to the games and explaining what's there on the board right now. So it's a very good threat on this. So if this bishop would have been on e5, then there would have been this mating threat on c1. So if rook takes b2, rook c1 would have been a check and mate. Bishop f1 and rook takes f1 would have been a simple check and mate. Why didn't okay, this check is possible. King h2, bishop e5 check, pawn g3, and I think that should be good actually. Yeah, white should be winning here clearly. So last around 15 minutes remaining for this tournament to conclude. We had a fantastic tournament so far. So yes, must watch. I can see your comments. Thank you so much. I am always happy to help all the chess players. Whatever help you need, you can reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you. You can join our WhatsApp group actually. There's a WhatsApp group. You can find the link in the description box below. You can join our WhatsApp group. Do recommend this to your friends to join as well, so that they can learn too. And now there is a mate on h8, this chicken meet, and join the WhatsApp group, and also subscribe to the channel if possible. I will be happy if you subscribe. I think that's the game for white. Now let's go back to the tournament. Black resigned. who all are leading right now. The past pawn is leading with 200 points, and Gujarat Lions closing in with 197, just a difference of 3 points. And we have a huge difference of 47 points between Gujarat Lions and Black Knights. Then we have Indian Warriors on 132. We have Mir Sultan Chess Academy on 125. Chess Talent in Pakistan with 115. Khelo Chess India on 100 points, and a Good Night Chess Club on 31, and the remaining players have not joined. So these are the top six teams, which are seven teams which are fighting out for this today's great India versus Pakistan chess team battle. And from the individual point of view, we have Aditya Deshmukh from Past Pawn team, that is 21-21, leading with 32 points. Then we have Congrats, You Lost Me from Indian Warriors with 29 points. Then we have TMG 07 from Royal Indians with 28 points. We have Bala Mudliar from Gujarat Lions with 28 points. Then we have Destroyer from Black Knights with 27 points. Shibuna from Indian Warriors with 26. And Hostile King from Past Pawn from 26. Amit Kumar from Black Knight on 25. Aman CMZ from Black Knight on 24. Cost Accountant from Black Knight on 24. So a very tight games between this second, third, and fourth positions, fifth positions, because you can see a very close games between 26 and 29. So anyone can jump upon the second and third positions very soon. So it would be interesting to see who takes advantage of last 13 minutes and jump to the top places. So right now, let's go back and check one of the games between. Okay, this is top game. Let's just check next page and check who all are playing from the Pakistan team. And we have this HR Jawal playing right now. He's playing against Destroyer. Let's check this game. Can Destroyer destroy the. Let's check what happened in the opening. So, just to give you a brief introduction of these players, HR Java, Harjwa, probably it's called as Harjwa, if I'm not wrong, sorry if I'm pronouncing wrong, is from the Mir Sultan Academy, who is from Pakistan, and Destroy is from Black Knight. So this game happened between these two players. White was Pakistani player, which it's Harjwa, and black was the Indian player, Destroyer. D4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, d5. This is a queen's gambit decline, guys. So bishop f4, a6, just trying to avoid this knight b5 and knight c7 tactics here. Knight f3, bishop d6, bishop e5, castles, e3, bishop takes, knight d7, bishop e2, knight takes, and pawn takes. So this is going to be a crooked pawn structure. If black is able to take advantage of this pawn structure, he would be in good shape soon. Then we have f4, c6. Okay, I think c5 could have been played here. Pawn takes, castles, f6, bishop goes to g4, the e6 pawn is now hanging. Queen e7 supporting the e6 pawn, the rook c1, pawn takes, and knight takes e5. Rook takes f8, queen takes f8, queen d4. Then we have knight takes g4. Okay, so this pawn structure is now actually better for black. These, of course, the black's pieces are still inside. White has developed pieces, but there is no attack as such on white. So black can take his time to develop his pieces. Knight d5, that's the move. Might change the course of the game because bishop on d7 is hanging right now, and after knight d5, if e d5, then queen can capture the d7 bishop here. So hence knight d5 came right now, and rook c8, rook takes, bishop takes, and now knight can come back, and this has given an equal position. And also remember, guys, when you are playing any ending, bishop and queen holds a higher value over knight and queen, because bishop and queen can give a mating threats from far away onto this king on h1, but this knight has to travel to this h5 square or f5 square to deliver a mate. So bishop and queen always are a better combination as compared to queen and knight. Okay, let's see. Queen f5, queen to d4, king f7, pawn h3, queen pawn e5, check, queen e6, and black is offering an exchange here. I think black should go for the win here. He should not offer the queen exchange. He should play this. He should just try to bring his bishop to this beautiful diagonal over here. Okay, so g6, queen moves. Okay, there's a threat of this check here on d8, hence queen d7. To stop the check, queen f6, queen e6, queen check, king moves. And then I think king h6 back, bishop d7, knight moves to e2. There was this check of queen f8 actually. Queen f8, king to h5, g4 check, king h4, and then queen h6 check, king g3, knight e2 check. So it could have been a good mating thread actually if white would have given this queen h6 check now. So the check was queen f8 check. So queen f7 to defend that queen f8 check, knight g3, and now bishop to c6. Finally, the bishop is on this good diagonal, and then we have e4 move. Queen goes to d7. Queen. Now the checks would come. That's a forced exchange, guys. One of not a forced exchange, but it's a. So I'm not sure why black is trying to exchange the queens here. He could have got a better position with his bishop, but the time is now gone to get his pieces on a good note. King g7, and now I think there could be, yeah, not right now, but if the queen comes somewhere on the g4, then knight f5 fork is there for this knight to have the queen. So probably queen f3 now and queen g4 can be played. So chess informant says that queen d6 was better than queen f3. Yes, chess informant. Yes, that's a correct information. Right now, king h2, queen f6. Still a difficult battle. It's not an easy battle to play right away. Yeah, so there are different plans here, guys. I can see the comment section. I have comments from Chess Informant and Ritesh Gupta. So yes, Ritesh, advance the H pawn. That was right, one of the plans, possible plans. But right now, this is actually a very difficult position, not so easy position because white has this well defended knight here. Okay, he has got his own fortress. Black king is slight exposed here, and there could be some kind of tactics which might come again. And this check, king moves, and queen d6 check. I think it will be a perpetual check and draw. If queen f6, queen takes f6 is now compulsory. King takes, and then it would be an interesting battle now because it will be knight versus bishop in this end game. And this e4 is gone now, so black will hold a slight advantage over white in this position. So pawn push can be played. Knight f5, and now King h6 draw. Which move it was? Can you just tell me the move number, chess informant? We can go back and check on that position. Uh, if you can go, just go back in the video and find the move number, which move number you're suggesting that knight f5 can be played. This is for chess informant. Ritesh Gupta, for you as well, remove the knight. Can you just tell me the move number, which move you're suggesting to play that move? So last 4 minutes in the battle, guys, and it would be interesting to see who's going to win this one. So when White had a forced draw, let's complete this game, chess informant. Then we'll go back to that position. So this knight f5 is again. I think this pawn cannot be saved now. Black should win this one if I'm not wrong, because this bishop can now defend this g8 square, and meanwhile this b5 b4 can come very fast. I think white black is trying to play this pawn. Yes, the bishop is now hanging, so bishop has to go. Yep, bishop e6, controlling the critical squares of this knight. One push, and I think that's the game over for white. King c3 should win here. Yep, it's a win for black now. Let's okay, so this check, and yeah, we have queen f6 check now, and queen takes e6 is winning. So queen f6 check and game is over. So king h6 was played by black. Okay, this is a winning for black. Now let's not pay much of king h6 when the queens were there on the board. Let's go back to that position. King h6 was played by black. Okay, so this is where black actually played king h6, chess informant. This is the position, right? So white had a forced draw. Okay, but how? No, I'm not sure how it was a draw, chess informant right now. Okay, but I cannot see any forced checks. Okay, so white resigns. Let's go back to the tournament. So last 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining, guys. We have passed pawns on 219 points, leading the tournament, followed by Gujarat Lions and 216. So tough competition for the first place. Still, we have 1 minute to go, and Gujarat Lions have their last chance to get the first position. Then we have Black Knights, who I think cannot be dethroned now from the third place, because 156 is right in between of these two squares. Indian Warriors cannot score about 20 points in this short span of 1 minute. So Black Knights are going to be on third position, followed by Indian Warriors. Mir Sultan Chess Academy has the chance to come on the fourth position, guys. So we have Chess Talent in Pakistan on sixth position with 132 points. So still a competition between the Pakistani teams to come on the fifth position. We have Khelo Chess India on number 7. Mai Shakti leading from Khelo Chess India. He's also a very good player with 120 points. And then probably we have a winner in last 30 seconds. So let's just quickly check who are leading from the individual point of view. So Royal Indians TMG07. Unfortunately, the Royal Indians other players couldn't join. So he's playing alone, a lone wolf. He is a alpha male, probably from the wolf. He's playing his game alone, and he's from Turkey. So a very good input to this tournament, guys. A Turkish player playing from Indian side, and he's winning the tournament from the individual point of view. It's very good to see such a combination and such mixing of the cultures. Aditya Deshmukh is on the second place on 34 points. Hostile King is on third place with 32 points. Destroyer is on 31 points, and I think the tournament is complete. And Gujarat Lions have managed to just snatch the first place in last few seconds, guys. You had seen that they were on 216 points, past points were on 219 points, and just in last few seconds, Gujarat Lions have taken the first place. So congratulations to all the winning teams here. Gujarat Lions finishing with 219 points. Bala Mudliar from Gujarat Lions leading with 29 points. Congratulations to Bala Mudliar and Gujarat Lions. Past Pawn on second place. Aditya Deshmukh from Past Pawns is on 34 points, leading the team. I'm feeling very sorry for the Past Pawn because they have just missed the title by few seconds. They are on 219, same points for first and second place, but it's probably the algorithm which calculates who is the winner. And for LiChess, Gujarat Lions have topped it. Then we have Black Knight. Destroyer from Black Knight is playing very well chess, and he's leading with 31 points from the team. Total of 156 points. Then we have Indian Warriors. Congrats, you lost me again. A very good player from Indian Warriors with 31 points, and the total of Indian Warriors is 139 points. Congrats to Indian Warriors as well. Then we have Chess Talent in Pakistan. World champion is leading from Chess Talent in Pakistan with 24 points. The total of Chess Talent in Pakistan is 133 points. Then we have Mir Sultan Chess Academy. Smalley, we saw his games. He has been outstanding, a very good Benoni player. If you want to learn Benoni, how to play against d4, I would recommend to go and check Smalley's games. He is a very good Benoni player. He is leading from his team with 24 points and total of 133 points for this Mir Sultan Chess Academy. Then we have Khelo Chess India, Mai Shakti. As usual, he is leading from the Khelo Chess India. He is a very good player, and the total of Kilochas India is 120 points. Then we have a huge difference of 36 with Royal Indians, but TMG, the player TMG, he is outstanding because he has won from the individual point of view. So congratulations to him as well. Although his team hasn't contributed, he has managed to secure the first place from the individual point of view. Then we have Royal India. Then we have the Indian team, the group of Indian chess players. Viren B is again a very good player. I have seen a lot of his games. He is leading from the Indian team with 19 points, but unfortunately, I think they had only 4 players, and we had required there to be at least 10 leaders from this team. Then we have this Good Night Chess Club, Abhishek Srivastava leading from a Good Night Chess Club with 13 points and a total of 31 points. So congratulations to all the winning teams. I have few questions on the viewing side. The question from the chess informant is who created this tournament, how to join. So let me explain all the viewers out there that we as a full-time chess team, we are providing the best in chess for all of you. We have our blog wherein we publish all the tournaments that are happening every day. If you don't know what that blog is, let me show you what that blog is right now. You can visit this blog every day so that you can know which tournaments are happening every day, date wise. So 27th April tournament will be published today evening, the blog for that. You have list of all the tournaments which are there today and which you can participate, cash, non-cash. That will help you a lot to decide which ones you should play. So the answer is, for the chess informant, you can visit our blog. This tournament you can was created by Akil. You can see the ID here, and I will request Akil to create more such tournaments. But in that tournaments, we will just have 2 teams, one from Pakistan and one from India. And I would personally would like to approach other countries as well to join into this team battle so that we have a country versus country kind of team battles with multiple countries participating in these tournaments. So I hope you all have liked this online broadcasting of the tournament and you have learned a lot. You must be happy, and I am happy as well to do the commentary, to explain all the openings, to explain all the tactics on the board. I request all of you to subscribe to the channel, like and share this video with maximum of your friends. If your friends subscribe, I will be happy as well. So that's all from